Run up your engines! Today I'm going to talk about a common problem that comes from a bad design. This RAV4 has that stupid oil filter. The assembly screws onto the engine. You got to unscrew it and then take the paper element out. Instead of having an actual replacement metal one that you just take off, throw away, and put another one in. This often leads to problems. In this case, the customer had a problem taking it apart, used the chisel. It may have damaged some of the engine. So we're going to go under and check it out and see what we can do. And when we go under, yeah, it's dripping oil here. And it's dripping from the stupid oil canister. So first we're going to take it off. So we need an oil drain pan to catch the crap, and we need a special tool to take it off. This is a metal one. You want a good solid metal one. And as you can see here, this is an MX2320 Motive X tool. You want metal. You don't want one of those cheap plastic tools. They will break, they will strip. Then you'll be in the trouble that he had trying to get it off. He ended up using the chisel, could have damaged stuff. So make sure you get a good metal one. And I like these long extension bars. Now it's up a little high, so I put some extensions on that too. So when I get to it, I can get a nice straight pull. As you can see when we go under, when I get my tool on, it fits right over. And now with the giant extension bar, we can easily pull on it. And when we pull on it, now it starts to come off. Now we don't want to lose traction, so what we'll do is we'll take the bottom off like that, put it over, and keep turning until we get it loose enough that we can get it off by hand. You don't want to keep taking the adjusting tool on top on and off. It's in tight, so leave that alone. Let's see if we can turn it by hand now. Yep, now we can turn it by hand. Now we'll get a rag and finish taking it off. There. Now why oh why they didn't have a regular oil filter like this instead of this BS? Well, that's what the engineers have come up with. This thing here, it's been damaged. Let's hope the inside of the engine hasn't been damaged too. So down we go, back under. And let's take a look at it. You can see a few marks here and there, but it's still pretty smooth. You can see little marks that he made here, but what we want to do is try another and see what happens, because he did chisel it a little bit here. And if we got to replace this, that is one heck of a job. Now since the inside has burrs on it, I'm going to use my little Dremel. I have these great brass wires, and they're really good for cleaning off threads and burrs. So here comes my wire on a reel. I'll just bring it over and plug it in. Now we can deburr. We want to get rid of all the little burrs that are in here. Get it on. Make it smooth again. Now I got a new cartridge assembly, and what we're basically doing is, where this ring is a sealant, that seals it, every place that touches inside, we want to make sure that's smooth. And the advantage of using this brass one is, it doesn't beat it up much, so it can make it smooth without gouging it and then making it leak even worse. I realize these ends wear out pretty fast. You're going to go through 4 or 5 of these things before you get it smooth. Which is why I have bags of the things lying around. Then we'll put the new one on. You can see the importance of the good tool. See, this says notches, look. Fits right in on the notches. This baby isn't going to come off. It'll be done right this time. You just simply screw it back on. Then when it starts to get tighter, get out the wrench you had before and finish it off with that. Wipe everything off. Make sure it's dry. Then open the hood and check the oil and add any if it's low. Then start her up and let's see if it stopped leaking. And we'll go under here and check. And what do we see? It's dry as a bone. It's not leaking now. So now we'll jack it down. And double check the oil, because you always check oil on a level surface. Now it's level. So we'll pull it out. Measure it. You can see it's low now, so we'll add some. Then we'll close the hood and take it for a spin. Always want to road test it with the pressure of a full running engine. Now we'll pull it in and recheck it. Let's look at it. Dry as a bone. It's not leaking anymore, and it's not leaking on the ground either. So now as you can see, I fixed somebody else's mistake using the right tool. You gotta have them where they have the little notches that they fit into. That's what these notches are for. It's not just the fitting here, it's the actual side notches too. Get the right tool. If you do have to fix something, a little handy rotor with a deburring can often smooth out rough patches that someone's created. The gasket will now seal it. Don't get a chisel and try to chisel your old filter off on any of these ones that have the stupid canister oil filters where you replace the paper. Get the right tool. Don't try to chisel it off. You could destroy your engine. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Well, here's some good news. Hertz is offering free rental cars for a month to healthcare workers in New York City. Of course, people aren't renting cars like they were, so Hertz is offering free 1-month rentals to anybody with qualified medical ID so they get back and forth to the hospitals to work. Well, good on Hertz. Hey, people are stepping up to the plate here. Well, they have a big drop-off in rental cars. Obviously, people aren't flying. One of the big rental cars is at the airports, and since people aren't flying anywhere, well, guess what? You know, they're not going to be renting cars there, so they're going to offer them to the healthcare workers. From what I've seen in my own customers, they said that even they're kind of leery about renting cars because what if someone had the virus and you're in the car, you're stuck in the car, you'd have to clean it all out, including the ductwork and everything. Yeah, it could be a real stinker, and that's going to turn people off for a while. Either in a rental car or an Uber. You know how many people have been at Uber either, so all those things are going to be a while till they come back because people aren't going to trust them. If they're giving the free ones to the healthcare workers, good on them. No one truly does wonder about GM and electric cars because they were the company that first started to make them in the United States, but they've never made a profit on it. All the ones that they've made so far have pretty much been dismal failures. But GM's trying to turn that around. The Volt and the Bolt that they make, those are pretty much commercial failures. But now they're trying to get more in the swing of things and making bigger electric cars is what their plan is. The reasoning in the past was, you know, in the late 90s, when they were making the little electric cars, they just had regular lead-acid batteries, big and heavy, doesn't have that much power. So they decided they had to go to a small vehicle and not make big ones. But of course now, the battery technology is changing, and they can make bigger vehicles. They're planning 3 Cadillacs, the Hummers, full-size pickups, and the mid-size SUVs, and they're going to be putting it all on pretty much a skateboard chassis, which is what electric cars certainly are going to be. That they can have a chassis, the batteries are below on the bottom, and they're stackable, the ones that GM are using, so they can have one size and a smaller vehicle. They can put a smaller battery pack. The bigger ones, they can just stack them, so they can have a real economy of scale, that they'll build the same basic skateboard chassis and be able to modify it for different vehicles. And they say that they've got some new battery technology, that they're doing an alliance with some of these battery companies to make it so they will have a longer range and they will recharge faster. They're jumping into the fray a little bit later than everybody else, but who knows what's going to happen. Could be that the later technology is better than the earlier technology. Nobody knows how it's going to pan out. Well, here's some good news for people with a lot of money, but maybe good news for everybody. Ferrari intends to resume their production on April 14th because they shut down early because of the virus having problems in Italy. It could be good news for all of us here in the United States too, because if they're able to resume production, we're behind them, but that might mean by May, the American factories might be able to reopen. If it works in Italy and they can reopen it the 14th of April, then maybe after ours have been shut for a month, then they could reopen May. So that could be really good news. You see what happens if the virus runs through Italy at that time. They reopen their factories. Maybe all the ones over here in May are going to be able to reopen. Hey, it's kind of good news if they do open and start making stuff again. They're kind of like the guinea pigs to see how it works. Does the virus come back when they reopen, or does it stay away? It'll be an interesting test there. Alford says, thanks for all the information. I'm 71 years old. Have my town and country held together for 275,000 miles. I'm going to surrender to reality. I want a better car, and I'm looking at a Mazda Miata or a Z3 BMW. All right, interesting. You're 71 and you're going from a town and country to a sports car. Well, definitely with that, get a Mazda Miata. They are so much more reliable than a BMW. The BMWs are a lot of fun to drive, but they're endless money pits as they age. You get a Mazda Miata, those things can last forever. I have customers with them that have 300,000 miles on them, and they're still running good. And there's a whole plethora. You could buy a brand new one, or you could buy one that's a few years old, or a really old one. There's so many of them out there. Realize it's the only two-seater sports car in the world ever sold that sold more than 1 million cars. No one else had done that before, so you can see they're very successful. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.